Hi friends, welcome to or welcome back to the channel Jane Reads. So today I have a fairly short recommendations video for you because I have not read a ton of books that fit into this category. So my list is pretty short. But today I am doing recommendations for fairy tale retellings. And why? Because I'm hosting the Christian Fiction Bingo for 2026, and one of February's prompts is a fairy tale retelling or subtitle on the cover, which I will get into at near the end of the video. So fairy tale retelling, this prompt was brought to me by Taylor from Tales and Treats with Tay. I asked her to provide a prompt for February, as February is her birthday month. And she also hosts the Once Upon a February readathon that takes place in the month of February. Taylor loves to read fairy tale retellings, so this fit her perfectly. And knowing that not everybody, such as myself, reads a ton of fairy tale retellings, she provided the secondary prompt of subtitle on the cover, which you could use if you don't have a fairy tale retelling or don't read them. So I will have her readathon announcement video linked below, along with her channel. So go over, check out her channel, give her some love. Be sure to wish her a happy birthday in the month of February. And she has also posted a fairy tales recommendations video, so that will be linked below as well. She has a ton of recommendations in that video. And I was shocked when I was watching it that not one of the books I was going to recommend to you today was in her video. So it was like, okay, I felt okay doing this recommendation video because it just provided more options. Now, I have a whole 5 books to recommend. And out of those 5 books, 4 of them are by the same author. Okay, so do I start with the same author or do I do the odd one out first? I'm going to do the odd one out because it's the one on top of my stack. So the first book is Beyond Ivy Walls by Rachel Fordham. This is a Beauty and the Beast retelling. We have the guy who is the Beast, kind of grouchy, doesn't want to be seen by people, really tries to stay hidden. And then we have, what's her name? Sadie, who is very upbeat and has a heart of gold and is trying to work hard to provide for her family back home. So this is set in Iowa in 1903, and Sadie is working at a duster factory. I think that's what it's called. Yes, a feather duster factory. And she can't afford where she was staying, so she moves into this abandoned building. Turns out the abandoned building is owned by Otis, and things go off from there. There is an older couple that kind of tries to play matchmaker between the two of them. They're really sweet. I really liked I'm mixing up books now. That there is an older couple who is trying to play matchmaker between the two. And there are notes exchanged between the two. And it's just such a sweet, sweet read. I read this in July of 2024 and I gave it 5 stars. And it says, I thoroughly enjoyed the characters and the story. So we've got historical fiction, Iowa, 1903. And Beauty and the Beast retelling. Okay, now another Beauty and the Beast retelling is To Love a Beast by Karen Witemeyer. And so we're in 1800s Texas, and once known among New York's elite as the American Ananias, Everett now lives as a recluse in the wilds of Texas. The treachery of a former admirer left his face and his spirit riddled with scars, so he hides himself away. His only companion is a trio of trusted servants and an oversized dogs. When an injury to her father jeopardizes the family's bookbinding business, Callista is determined to fulfill the contract herself, and no sufferable client or woman-eating dog will deter her. Finding unlikely allies among Mr. Griffin's staff, Callista secures her position and sets to work transforming the manor's remarkable library. So we've got Callista, who is a bookbinder who arrives at Everett's place to kind of bookbind some of the books in the library, or rebind some of the books in the library. Then we have the servants that work for Everett and who, again, try to play matchmaker and kind of push them together. And in this one, their names really play off some of the characters in the Beauty and the Beast movie. This was so entertaining. I just really enjoyed this one as well. It was a 4-star read for me. And my review says, this included lots of nods to the Disney movie, The Beauty and the Beast, but with an inclusion of faith and looking beyond a person's appearance to see their heart. Okay, now continuing on with Karen Witemeyer, she has a whole series, the Texas Ever After series, which each book is a different fairy tale retelling. And while it's a series, they each can be read as standalones because the characters do not connect between them at all. They're just in a series because they all have the same theme of a fairy tale retelling. Texas Ever After. So book 1 is Fairest of Heart, and this one is a Snow White retelling, and we have 7 grandfather figures in this one, and we have Penelope, who is working for somebody at a traveling circus, a troupe, who are traveling around the West, and she is not treated well by her employer. She's kind of like a lady's maid who tries to hide in the background a little bit, and she's not treated well by the lady. And she comes across these grandfather figures, and I really enjoyed this one. And that was, my grandfather figures were my favorite part. I gave it 5 stars. Then book 2 is If the Boot Fits, which is a Cinderella retelling. And we have, this one is kind of a gender flip. We have the guy who loses his boot, so his shoe, right, in Cinderella. And then we have the girl that is from a wealthy family. And it's interesting to see how that interacts. And I really enjoyed it. This was another 5-star read for me. And I just absolutely loved the way Eli responded to the revelation rather than negatively. Like, he just responded so positively to what he realized. And Eli is her father. And then book 3 is Cloaked in Beauty, which is a Little Red Riding Hood retelling. And we have Letty, who has spent the last 15 years of her life hidden away with her grandmother in the backwoods of East Texas to escape the deadly schemes of an uncle who wants her dead. Then we have Pinkerton agent Philip has one duty: to get the Harris home alive. He's expecting a spoiled girl, but he's surprised to encounter a woman of strength with a kind soul and a keen wit. So we've got somebody after them. There is also a wolf in this story that really acts like a dog. And it was just, again, it was really, really entertaining. I did only give this one 4 stars. I said it does have a slow middle, but once I connected with the characters, I was totally invested, and I loved Philip. So those are the 5 books that I have to recommend. I do not own a physical copy of To Love a Beast by Karen Witemeyer, but okay, the one book that I'm looking at reading is A Change of Heart by Madisyn Carlin. It is book 1 of the Hearts of Averin series. And it says that it is a Christian fantasy novel with Cinderella vibes. Now, I don't know how much of a fantasy novel it is, but that kind of makes me a little leery about it, but we'll see. It says, she's a grumpy baker. He's a stubborn detective. All Josephine wants is to prove herself worthy of one day taking over her family's bakery. Her aspirations are crushed when a seemingly random robbery lands her a bodyguard. All Detective Caden wants is to prove himself worthy of his family's legacy. When he's assigned as Joe's bodyguard, he sees the new job as a demotion. Still, despite her propendency toward being more like vinegar than sugar, he's drawn to her giving personality and gentle heart. But not everything is cookies and cupcakes. Danger grows, more attempts on Joe's life occur, and secrets lurk just beyond reach. Can two people who mix as well as oil and water put aside their differences in time, or will evil gain the upper hand? I don't know. Elma from Elma's Book Journey shared this one with me, and it said it fits both prompts for my Christian fiction bingo. And I was like, well, it does sound really interesting, until I got to the bottom where it said it was a fantasy. I'm like, I'm not sure about that, but I will try it. It is on Kindle Unlimited, so I will try it. Okay, so if you're not into a fairy tale retelling, the second half of the prompt is just to find a book with a subtitle on the cover. Now, what does that mean? Basically, a lot of books have just random. The very common one is a novel. So Beyond Ivy Walls, right there, it says a novel. It's got the book title, the author, and then a novel. Then I just grabbed some random ones on my shelf. Canyon of Deceit by Diane Mills, a novel. All My Secrets by Lynn Austen, a Gilded Age novel. And Rising Danger by Jerusha Egan. It says, this canine team is running out of time. So it's kind of got a little bit extra. Or you could go with like a series title, right? Wings of Glory for a Distant Melody by Sarah Sundin. Or the Texas Ever After ones all have the series title on the top. So anything that just has something extra on it, but not a blurb. Just something extra for the book itself, but not like a blurb by another author, for example. So really, it's amazing how many books, when you look at them, have a novel. Like, that really seems to be the most popular one. This one's probably the biggest, right? I was amazed at the number of them. Now, the three that I showed you randomly, these three, I have not read, so I don't know yet if I would recommend them. I've just grabbed them off my TBR shelf to see subtitles. Okay, that is today's video. Please let me know, do you read fairy tale retellings? And if you do you have a favorite one that you would recommend to me? Or what do you plan on reading in the month of February? I would love to chat in the comments below. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video today, and I would love it if you would like and subscribe and stay tuned for future videos. Have a great day. Bye.